with your host, Andrew Romanella.
I legitimately watched the entire women's triathlon the other day. I gotta tell you, that was exhilarating stuff. Like, I was locked in because what's going on, everybody? Welcome into another edition of The Rome Show here on 12ouncesports.com. Broadcast live on YouTube and X. I am your host, Andrew Romanella. I got you for the next 30 and change. If that's what you want to do, join along, follow YouTube, follow X, share it with a friend. We're going to have a great time today. Happy December 2024. I hope everybody had a happy and healthy Thanksgiving weekend. I don't know if you did the same thing I did, but it was very much filled with food, family, and football. So it was a lot of fun, at least in this radio studio over the weekend. I hope the same for you. Make sure you get us on social media. X, Twitter, Facebook, The Rome Show 1 or 12OZ Sports. Best thing you can do is hit subscribe and you'll be good to go on all the content you need. Jam-packed Monday show for you today. So if you want to get in on the action, do it on YouTube or do it on X. A full slate of Monday morning quarterback. We have to go back to the Friday game, Vegas versus Kansas City. So we'll take you through Friday's results. We'll bring you all the way through week 13 in the National Football League, give you our thoughts. We have highlights, as we always do when it comes to that scenario in the National Football League. Plus, there was college football happening over the weekend and a lot of recklessness, including Michigan beating Ohio State for the fourth straight time. We thought Harbaugh goes to the NFL. Michigan's going to have a chance to Ohio State's going to have a chance to beat Michigan. Unfortunately, not the case. And Michigan now ends, or you thought could have ended, Ohio State's chances to be in the playoff, but that could still exist. We could talk about that. And then, of course, Monday Night Football. So a big-time gridiron show for the people today. Get in on the action, YouTube, X. We've told you already. Okay. Let's get into our Monday morning quarterback here so we can break down what we saw over the weekend. All right, here's what we saw over the weekend. Let's start in Buffalo, ladies and gentlemen. This is an interview between head coach Sean McDermott and Josh Allen having a little bit of fun post victory. Yes, that is right. I figured we'd start with a little bit of a congratulations into the AFC East as the Buffalo Bills. No, we're not laughing. We are applauding. The Buffalo Bills have won the AFC East in week 13, one of the earliest victories of a division in the history of time. They defeated the 49ers last night, 35-10. Some crazy stuff we saw last night in that game. Josh Allen had a day. The biggest thing we saw that I think could be the most important is the fact that you're running the rock, you're throwing the rock, good things are going to happen. James Cook in this game, 14 carries for 170 yards, 1 TD. Just so you are aware, like 65, 70 of those yards came on one run in the first half. Pure dominance by the Buffalo Bills. The 49ers fall to 5-7, don't have Christian McCaffrey anymore. So I think this could be a lost season for the Niners. All right, let's go through the rest of the league here. Starting on that Friday game, 19-17, the Chiefs win yet another one-score game. Here's what was alarming about this game, though. They had a lead, and you just slowly watched the Raiders chip back away. In no world should Aiden O'Connell have a better game offensively than Patrick Mahomes, but Aiden O'Connell played really good, 342 TDs. So you wonder what's up with the Las Vegas Raiders and what their quarterback situation is going to be moving forward. I don't know, but in the last 2 years, Aiden O'Connell has done a pretty good job coming in every single time. The Raiders, though, 2-10, fighting for that first overall pick. The Chiefs, 11-1, the least confident 11-1 team I've ever seen in the history of the National Football League. Speaking of quarterbacks, the Falcons, they might have a controversy. Is it time for Michael Penix Jr., the first overall pick from Washington? Kirk Cousins threw 4 interceptions yesterday. In no world is that okay. The Falcons lose their third straight. They fall to 6-6. The Chargers, they get a huge bounce back victory. They jump to 8-4. They are in the division race, and they are in the wild card race in the AFC. The Steelers, they defeated the Bengals in what was a wild shootout. Here's something interesting about this game. The Steelers and the Bengals played for the 110th time yesterday in their rivalry history. In the first half of yesterday's game, it was 27-21 Steelers going into the halftime break. That is the most points, 48 scored in the first half in the 110 meetings all time between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Bengals. So something was in the water yesterday in Cincinnati. Nonetheless, it really worked out for Russell Wilson and the gang. Russ went off, threw for 414 and 3 TDs. At one point in time late in this game, the Steelers had about a 17-point lead. Cincinnati did come back, but Joe Burrow's on the wrong side of history. There's been like 11 something QBs. Check out the Instagram the Rome Show 1, wherever, or Twitter. We put the stat up, but it's like Joe Burrow's like one of 11 QBs ever, like 10 games of 300 yards and like 3 TDs or something. And he's got a losing record. It's just not good going on for the Bengals right now in Cincinnati. The Vikings, they squeak out a victory with 10 points in the fourth quarter, including a late drive by Sam Darnold and the gang. Here it is. Darnold steps back with 1:15 left, hits Aaron Jones, who had his third straight game with a fumble at the beginning of this game. Aaron Jones seals the deal for the Vikings. They move to 10-2 on the season. And I wonder, are you allowed to win Comeback Player of the Year if you were in the league last year and you weren't hurt? Because if you are, Sam Darnold should be the prime candidate for that. In my humble opinion, he had a really good day yesterday. He was 21 of 31 for 235 and 2 TDs. He also led the team in rushing. Yeah, you heard that right. 3 players on Minnesota finished with 22 rushing yards. Sam Darnold, Cam Akers, Aaron Jones. But that did not matter because the defense, they played really well, turned Kyler Murray over twice, and Arizona falls to 6-6, whereas Minnesota moves to 10-2, but they have to keep winning those games because of how good their division is right now. Colts at Patriots. It was the battle of who doesn't want to win this football game. Well, it looks like the Patriots did a better job than the Colts in that category. Colts win 25-24 with late points for the victory. Anthony Richardson, another 2 turnovers. I just don't believe he's the answer in Indianapolis. They're going to have to answer that question in the offseason. Drake May could be the answer in New England. They just need more talent surrounding him. Nonetheless, the Pats are 3-10 and the Colts are 6-7, keeping themselves in the AFC wild card race. We continue on with the Seahawks at the Jets. Check out what happened in this football game. Jets up 21-7. They're cruising. Looks like they're about to go up 28-7. And then Aaron Rodgers does what Aaron Rodgers has been doing recently, which is not be very good. Football league. You couldn't have had more of a victory on your plate than you throw it away. For the Seahawks, that one was huge, though, because they need that for the race of the division and the race of the wild card. They moved to 7-5. The Jets, they fall to 3-9. I bet that felt really good for Geno Smith. He wasn't elite in this game by any stretch of the imagination, but played well enough. And just going back to the team that essentially told you you're not good enough and beating them on their turf, I don't care how you win or what the score is, that had to feel really good for Geno Smith. And I just love it. I love watching the Jetropolitans not to be very good. The Commanders and the Titans, what a blowout this was. The Commanders scored 21 points in the first quarter. They were up 28-0 by the halfway point of the second quarter. Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin hooked up twice. Brian Robinson had a touchdown. Jaden Daniels also ran one in. 42-19 was the final score. Will Levis, okay day, 2 TDs for the Titans, 3-9. Commanders, they moved to 8-5. Big win because the NFC East might be a week or two out of reach now. But getting into the postseason is not, and the Commanders are going to be a top pick for me when we go through our playoff hopefuls after week 14 next week. I'm going Commanders top of that list. Texans at Jaguars. Texans won 23-20. The Jags are terrible, but there's really no more of a question than the health of Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence took a huge hit yesterday in this game from Azeez Al-Shire. Now, here's my thing, and I'm going to pop this up on the screen. But before I pop it up on the screen, here is the biggest thing for me. This is Azeez Al-Shire's second offense. In week number 2, he had a hit on Caleb Williams that Rashawn Johnson of the Bears did not like. Well, Al-Shire just hits him in the face, and it was just fined $11,817. I want you to take a look at it. It's so clear and obvious that he is sliding. And their mother, that was a dirty play. And right there from Al-Shire, that was a dirty play. If the National Football League doesn't come down and suspend this dude for at least, at the minimalistic, it's a game. It has to be a game. You can't be your second offense on a season. You see that action right there. We know what we know about how much we're trying to protect the quarterback, let alone the head injuries that we've been seeing. Tua is the first person that comes to your mind, but nonetheless, there's just no room for in the game for that. Even the head coach, D'Amico Ryan of the Houston Texans, said we need to talk to Azeez. And then, by the way, and I didn't bring that part of the clip onto the show, he acted like such an imbecile. Like, bad on you, Al-Shire. If I'm the National Football League, I'd add a suspension onto my suspension for him being a dirty player to the fact that he acted like a clown after. The only thing I thought was mishandled was after the hit, which was a poor and terrible decision. His decision to act the way he acted after the hit was also atrocious. So not handled very well by Azeez. And I think that the National Football League, if you want to stop stuff like this, you must come down hard on this player who's a second-time offender in the last 11 weeks. Prayers for Trevor Lawrence. He did tweet yesterday, so it looks like he is okay. Again, the Texans move to 8-5, stay fighting in the playoff for the AFC. The Rams, they beat the Saints 21-14. At one point in time, the Rams had scored 14 points in the fourth quarter, 21 in the second half. The Saints held them to 0 in the first half, but the Rams, they found a way to come back on the back of Matthew Stafford, 2 touchdowns, but Kyron Williams ran for 104 and a TD. The Rams stay alive in the NFC, 6-6. The Saints were on a 2-game winning streak under their interim coach. They're now 4-8. That could be the nail in the coffin for their season. And then finally, by the way, I have 2 more for you. The Eagles, they beat the Ravens 24-19. Saquon Barkley goes off again. 23 carries for 107 yards and a TD. Kudos to the Eagles defense in this game. They really put a clamping on Lamar Jackson. He threw for 237 and 2 TDs, and he ran for 79 yards. So not an exceptional day. Just he combined for about 302 TDs, but then they really shut down Derrick Henry. Only ran for 82 yards, no touchdowns. So it looked like the game plan for the Eagles was one of the 2 of them is going to do something. We got to shut the one of the 2 of them down, and that was Derrick Henry, forcing everybody else to try and make plays. It did not happen, and the Eagles, they prove in 2 straight weeks, the Eagles prove maybe they are a legitimate team. They are currently on a 8-game winning streak with wins against the Commanders, the Rams, and the Ravens in each of the last 3 weeks. Maybe Nick Sirianni doesn't need to be fired. And then finally, Bryce Young playing phenomenal football for the Carolina Panthers. They lost yesterday in overdrive with Carolina Panthers. And the Bucs, they win on a field mistake. And here's the game-winning field goal for Tampa. So a great day for Bryce Young, unfortunately ends in a loss for the Carolina Panthers. But I think Bryce Young is the best young quarterback in the league right now. Over the last 4 weeks, relax, not saying in the league overall, over the last 4 weeks. He was 26 of 46 in this game, 298, 1 TD. He was only sacked one time. Most sacked guy over the last 2 years, sacked one time. And he distributed the ball appropriately. There were 8 different receivers in that mix of throwing and no turnovers, which is a huge aspect. Carolina, though, 3-9. Buccaneers now 6-6. 2 straight huge victories for this Bucs team. Baker, though, turning the ball over again. 2 more interceptions. He's going to have to stop that if the Buccaneers want to make their way into the postseason. And that is your Monday morning quarterback here on the Rome Show, breaking down every game from the weekend. It is a nutty National Football League, and we are enjoying it here on the Rome Show. You got to break down any thoughts for us, YouTube, X, 12OZ Sports. You can comment live on the show. I would love it. When we get back, we'll talk standings, obviously Monday Night Football, and if I can give you a little breakdown on college football, I will, because it was a wild weekend. Flags on the field, fights everywhere, nuttiness. Football, what a fun time. December, also a fun time. 24 days though, Christmas. Head to RomeShowShop.com for your gifts. Use promo code Black Friday. All the things. Commercial break. Back after this. Rome Show, 12OZ Sports.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12-Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12-Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Yeah, it's the Rome Show, 12OZ Sports. Broadcast live, YouTube X. Follow us. Comment live. Give us your football thoughts. I see there are people listening, watching live, whatever the hell you want to say. Hope you enjoyed our Monday morning rundown in the first half of the show. If you missed any of it, the Rome Show podcast, wherever you get your podcast, 12OZ Sports. Click the Rome Show and you could rewatch youtube.com/12OZ Sports. Follow, subscribe, see the show live or after every single time. Wild weekend of football. Started on Thursday, Thanksgiving, when you had a slate of 3 games, including the Detroit Lions versus the Bears. Then we had the Giants at the Cowboys and the Packers at the Dolphins, all that proved to be semi-decent football games, minus the Dolphins being down by 20-plus in cold weather again on Thursday night. Then you went into Black Friday, solid game between the Raiders and the Chiefs. The Chiefs keep wanting you to want more, expecting more, wishing for more, but nonetheless, they still keep finding a way to win. And then you roll into Saturday. And college football rivalry week, as they call it, happens. And all you do is scroll through social media for the rest of the day and see fights. Oh, well, this team beat this team, and then that team tried to plant their flag on the center of the 50-yard line, and the other team came out and they had a problem with it, and then we fought each other, and then everyone goes back to their respective benches. Then a head coach says, oh, well, we're not going to let them disrespect us like that. So we had to go out there and shove the guy. Okay. First, I'm just going to say this. I'm over the flag planting thing in college football. It's not that cool. You play each other every year. Florida versus Florida State's happening every year. Michigan versus Ohio State happening every year. We don't need to plant a flag in North Carolina. North Carolina State's planting a flag. Like, stop. Like, at some point in time, this whole flag plant thing, first off, it's turf. They don't even stay in the ground. So that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. They do this whole thing where they're about to plant the flag, and then it's like they slam it into concrete. It doesn't even, you're not planting a flag, okay? That needs to stop. Like, if I'm a coach in college football and I'm going into a rivalry game, probably like Georgia, who I don't know has been good for like 10 years with some natties underneath their belt, it's not to necessarily act like you've been there before either thing, because I believe in celebrating, but it's like, we don't need to do that. It's like stupid. Yeah, it's disrespectful. What's stupid about it is there's nothing good coming out of it. First off, none of you people are good enough to win the national championship this anyways. I truly believe you should only be able to be insanely cocky and overconfident if literally you could back it up. Like Jadeveon Clowney when he was at South Carolina. He was really cocky. Could back it up, right? Like that type of college football, you want to chirp a little bit, but also then dominate the opponent. Okay, sounds good to me. But I cannot stand watching these videos of these kids. They win the game. They go along. They come back out with their school flag. Yeah, we're going to plant it on the M of Michigan or whatever on Ohio State. Oh, dude, you beat them for 4 straight years. Ohio State does not have a victory against Michigan since 2018. And oh, by the way, even though you're the defending national champions, they actually still have a chance to go win a national championship in this season. I'm over it. So I watched that over the weekend in college football. The football was good. The upsets were great, as they've been. But the flag planting thing needs to stop. Here are the current college football playoff conference championship games. In the ACC, we have SMU in their first year versus Clemson. Thank you, Syracuse. In the Big 12, Arizona State versus Iowa State. In the Big 10, Oregon versus Penn State. In the SEC, Texas versus Georgia. In the AAC, Army. Yeah, that's right. Army 8-0 in the AAC for the first time in their history of being in the conference. They take on Tulane. West Kentucky University versus Jackson State in the CUSA. How about this one in the MAC? Miami of Ohio takes on Ohio. So Miami is playing Ohio. In the MWC, so that would be the Mountain West, Boise State versus UNLV, and then Louisiana Lafayette versus the Marshall Thundering Herd in the Sun Belt. So those are your conference champions. According to DraftKings, the projected in no matter what teams are Oregon, Texas, Penn State, Notre Dame, Georgia, Texas, Indiana, and Ohio State. I don't know if I necessarily agree with the Ohio State one, but that's just me. I think that at some point in time, you lose games, and the games are pretty big games, and you have 2 losses. It's like, all right, I don't know if this team necessarily deserves to be in. I know they lost to Oregon and they lost to Michigan. I'm sorry. I think a lot of other teams with not the hardest schedule in America, I think a lot of other teams wouldn't even be in anymore. So anyways, I don't believe in that one. Teams that DraftKings believes must win their conference tourney are Boise State, UNLV, Clemson, SMU, Arizona State, and Iowa State. And then hoping for the 12th spot top, I guess in college basketball, they say the last 4 in would be Miami, Alabama, Ole Miss, and South Carolina. So a lot to be determined in college football, including tomorrow when they put out the new rankings. Here are the odds for those same teams to win it, to get in. The longest shot odds is Clemson at plus 4,000. So really not a lot of belief from DraftKings that Clemson will beat SMU in the championship game and get in. SMU plus 3,000. So it seems to me like the betting odds from DraftKings are that the ACC is going to struggle to get more than one team in. I think Big 12 as well. So that's your college football update here on the Rome Show. A lot to be determined, but again, I've said it every time we've talked about it. Really, really good job out of college football on the expansion, at least from this fan's standpoint. I'm more engaged this year than I have been in any other year. We're going to put the bananas sounder and music on for you because what we're going to do today is we're going to break down Monday Night Football and give you our picks at the exact same time. So it's the final segment of the show. It is your Daily Bananas.
Ba 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 na na ba 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 na na oh ba 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 na na
All right, it's time. So tonight, Monday Night Football. Oh, by the way, let's give you a record update. I'm 162 and 127. If you've been wondering what's going on the last few weeks, we were 2-1 on Friday. Mahomes over 225. We did not get the Chiefs at the 12.5, but we did get Bowers over 60 plus. He had 140 and a TD. The day before that, Thanksgiving, we were 1-2. We chose Giants 3.5, Lions minus 9.5, Pack minus 3.5. Check. We nailed that one. The day before that, we had the Clippers at minus 10.5. Check. Rockets at minus 5.5. Check. And the Las Vegas Golden Knights at the money line, not a check. So all of that added to 162 and 127. So if you're wondering, you should stay on the train because the boy's rolling in his personal life yesterday. 3-1. Whoop, whoop. We love an NFL Sunday like that. Monday Night Football, we have the Browns at the Broncos. Two teams going in two different directions. You have the Broncos with Bo Nix fighting for Rookie of the Year, playing some really good football over the last few weeks. And then the Browns, who have definitely been revived by Jameis Winston, I think, over Deshaun Watson. And they're just looking to find their way coming off of a victory. This Browns defense is a really good defense. They've been really good all year. And I think that's going to be the difference. Are Myles Garrett and the Browns defensive line going to get pressure on Bo Nix and the offense? This is not an elite running the football team. I would almost argue that Bo Nix is the second best runner of the football behind Jameson Williams on this Denver team. James Williams leads the team with 445 rushing yards. They're not even probably going to be out 1,000 yards back this year. So a lot falls on Bo Nix, who has 16 touchdowns thrown and 6 interceptions. If you look at the numbers from a running the football standpoint for Bo Nix, he's run for 300 yards and 4 TDs. He's over essentially 3,000 all-purpose yards for Denver. It's Bo Nix versus the defensive line versus the Cleveland Browns. I want to see if this Denver team can continue to ride because they've been playing some good football as of late. Listen, right now the line's at -6. I saw it last night at 5.5. So I think it's going to bounce back and forth. Also, each location is going to have a different number. In the last 3 games, the Broncos have held their opponents to 16, 6, and 19. Oh, 4 games. Yep, that was it. 16, 6, and 19. So playing really good defensively. So I'm going to take the Broncos here at the -5.5. I was originally feeling the Browns at the +5.5, but I do really believe in Bo Nix and this offense, and I believe that the 2-game winning streak turns into a 3-game winning streak, and the Denver Broncos continue to push up the AFC playoff ladder. And that, ladies and gentlemen, are your Daily Bananas, as well as the Rome Show here. 12OZ Sports. We broadcast live on YouTube and X. Follow us on both, and you can get all of the action. I'll be back tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. with Rocky Romanella at 7:10 because it's Sports with Rocky, as we do every single week. Enjoy your Monday, ladies and gentlemen. Happy December. RomeShowShop.com. Be electric. Andrew Romanella saying peace.
Thank you for listening.